The Brewers are one of four teams that are winless after the opening weekend of baseball. And it was one of the worst weekends I can recall of Brewer baseball in the last several seasons since the Brewers have turned things around from all those terrible years. We'll get to all that coming up next. Look ahead to opening day as well. But we got a lot to cover here. We'll get to that next here on Locked On Brewer.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is, I'll tell you what, it is great to be back here on a Sunday night back in the studio. We're capping the game from earlier and looking ahead to the week and all that and talking about the whole weekend. It's fun again to get back into the games. It's not going to be fun talking about just how poorly and unexpected this was this weekend. I mean, I know some people are pessimistic about the Brewers. I think that's just a natural thing with our sports teams here in the state of Wisconsin. But come on, nobody expected what we saw this past weekend, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Good to have you along. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Cover the Brewers on a regular basis. Yes. Going to my I think 45th straight opening day. This is dating back to when I was a little kid. Coming up, covering the game on Monday. We'll get to all that, opening day and all that with the Royals coming in. We'll get to that coming up here. But we can't, I'm telling you what, this past weekend, I thought watching Sunday's game, Brewers scored first, got the first run on the board. And I told my 13-year-old, because he said, "Oh, Dad, the Brewer," because he doesn't follow it as much as I do. I mean, he follows it, but he says, "Dad, the Brewers are playing the Yankees again. They're going to get killed." I said, "No, that's not going to happen. Baseball's different. Rarely, sometimes when you get destroyed and give up 20 runs in one game, the next day you come back and win. That's how funny baseball is." Well, it's more of the same on Sunday. I'm laughing, but I'm crying, to be honest with you. I mean, an 0-3 start. I mean, look at this. The Brewers, through 3 games, their team ERA is 12.75 through 3 games. Teams are hitting .333 against the Brewers. The next highest average given up by a pitching staff, the Twins, through 3 games. The Cardinals beat them up for a .306 batting average this weekend. And the Twins are one of those teams, 3 other teams that are 0-3 as well, like the Milwaukee Brewers. But giving up 15 home runs through the first 3 games. So the Yankees, with hitting 15 homers through the first 3 games, the Yankees, I saw, tied a major league record with 15 homers through 3 games. So that would mean to me that the Brewers giving up 15 home runs probably tied a major league record, giving up the 15 homers through the first 3 games of the season. The next highest given up, Toronto gave up 10 through 3 games, Detroit 9. But easily, other than the Atlanta Braves, and they didn't take a beatdown like the Brewers did, the Brewers easily had the worst weekend of any team in baseball. I mean, clearly, the way Thursday went, and especially Saturday and Sunday, just getting run ruled in both of those games and having to bring in a Bowers to pitch. And I kind of joked early in the game on Sunday. I said, well, something about Civale. I said, at this rate, Civale gives up 3 home runs. We're going to see Bowers pitching in this game. And sure enough, we saw Bowers pitching in the 8th inning. And we're going to get to Cortes as well. Cortes was just brutal on Saturday. He's going to have his own segment a little bit later on. But this will not temper my excitement going into a homestand with the Brewers. I know they're 0-3, but I'm looking forward to the home opener. Can't remember the last time. There probably was a time when they've gone in and been swept. In 2011, I know they got swept in Cincinnati, and I think they came back home and lost to the Rockies on opening day. I believe that how it was. And they started off 0-4. And of course, the 2011 Brewers ended up going to the NLCS, losing in Game 7 to the Dodgers. So in the 3 games against the Yankees, the Brewers gave the 15 home runs, 36 runs. Aaron Judge was destroying him so badly that they had to walk him the final 3 times. They had to give him the Barry Bonds treatment. Now, I know Aaron Jones, I mean, Aaron Judge is a great player. But I mean, isn't it to a point where we're having to like intentionally walk this guy? That's how bad maybe it's not so much Aaron Judge, it's just how bad the Brewers pitching was. Pat Murphy did not trust his pitching staff anymore against Aaron Judge. And the first time they walked Judge, it was a 3-1 game. And what happened? Jazz Chisholm hit a 2-run homer, made him pay for it. That's the kind of weekend. So even when the Brewers bypassed Judge, the next guy came up and hit a home run. Civale on Sunday, 3 innings pitched, 68 pitches. And now, if that wasn't bad enough, giving up the 3 home runs, Civale has also got some sort of a hamstring injury. We'll find out probably on Monday what that's all about. He says it was cramping, but the bottom line is the Brewers used their top 3 pitchers and got destroyed by the Yankees. And they're going to throw out Elvin Rodriguez on Monday. And most people are going to be sitting there in the stands at AmFam Field and say, who is this guy that's pitching? Was he on the team last year? Never heard of him. Tuesday against the Royals is a TBA. Thursday against the Reds, by the way, Cortes is coming back to pitch. I heard they might switch that to a day game just so they can get it in by the 2 a.m. curfew. I'm kidding, of course. No, it's still a night game. But if you got to work the next morning with Cortes pitching, if it's anything like he was this last Saturday, you might be a little late for work on Friday. The bullpen just spent as well. Bullpen spent. And you know what? Those starting pitchers, Cortes and Civale, weren't the only ones that took a beating. Let's see who else here. Piamps on Sunday, 2/3 of an inning, 4 hits, 5 earned runs. 5 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Koenig wasn't all that good. Came in, threw a wild pitch. He was terrible in Thursday's game. Couldn't keep it close. Gave up some runs as the Yankees got some insurance runs. Increased it from a 2 to a 4-1 lead on Thursday, picking up 2 runs in the 7th inning. But he wasn't much better. I mean, McGill had to come in and pitch in 1/3 of an inning just to get some work in. I hate that. I really do. So McGill pitched a 1/3 of an inning just so he wouldn't rust out there in the bullpen. Our closer had to come in. By the way, Koenig, his ERA, 2/3 of an inning so far. He's pitched an ERA of 27. I said at the beginning of last week when I was previewing the season further, I said, are we going to expect a guy like Jared Koenig to be as great as he was last year, where he had a career year? Well, it's off to a brutal start. But of course, all I hear about is it's early. It's early. Oh, I hate that. Even when you get off to a good start, the term in baseball is, oh, it's early, because they play 162. And I get it. I just get tired of hearing it every year. Oh, it's early. Yeah, it's early because the Brewers have been known to get off to a 20-3 start and not make the postseason, as in 1987, a long time ago. And they've gotten off to great starts. 2007, they got off to a great start. They were 20-7 that year and didn't make the postseason. So I get the whole it's early thing. But the eye test this weekend wasn't fun, because here we are. We're sitting through 6 months of lousy weather in Wisconsin. I'm doing these shows every day, just anticipating a great season and looking forward to this series against the Yankees, and the Brewers come out and lay an egg. So yeah, forgive me if I feel like I'm a little deflated after a 3-game series like this. And all you on Twitter, I see it, and you've been coming at and messaging me and all that and telling me how deflated you are. I get it. I totally get it. But yeah, we're going to have to go with that old saying, it is early. It is only 3 games into the season. But I don't have to tell you, they can't be giving up 15 home runs every 3 games. They cannot be doing that. Just too much. Just too much. Again, we're going to get into Cortes coming up here in a little bit. But, man, Elvin Rodriguez is going to be your opening day pitcher. We'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. All right, we come back. We'll talk a little bit about Cortes. Some of you don't even want to see him again. Some of you don't even want him back in Milwaukee. But we'll get to that. And I'm going to tell you, too, that I was not a big fan of seeing Hoskins on the bench on Sunday. We'll get to all that coming up next here on this edition of Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. This episode brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Was it bad enough for you? Well, not that it needed a Brewer game to be bad to turn to March Madness, because March Madness standalone is great. You don't need any excuse to do that, although I missed that first game today because I'm watching the Brewers game. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Yeah, $200, and it's going to land right into your account. And you can use it to bet on everything. Final Four coming up this weekend. National Championship, baseball, NBA, you name it. In fact, there's still some college basketball going on tomorrow. There's some tournaments going on. There's a tournament going on in Vegas. I don't know. Is that the NIT? The one I don't really only follow is the NCAA, obviously. The NIT and all. There's some other little tournaments going on for all the teams that didn't make the tournament, the big dance. But anyway, visit FanDuel.com. Get in all the college action, whether it's the NC2A tournament or whatever, the NIT. New customers, again, you're going to get the $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet, which should be easy. If you bet on the Brewers this weekend, it wasn't easy. But FanDuel, March Madness is here, and FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. All right, everybody. You get our podcast, by the way, on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast. I'm going to try to be here like I was last year, like on Sunday nights. Get this podcast drop by 10, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. You know, let's face it, Sunday night, you want something to do. And I'm going to try to get this out like I did last year on a Sunday night. But at the very least, early Monday morning, it'll be out. Talking Brewer baseball with you. All right, let's get to the big elephant in the room who everybody was talking about all weekend. Our big pickup for Devin Williams, Nestor Cortez. Not that trade does not look good for both teams. Well, Williams actually got out of that jam he got himself in Thursday, but Saturday, Cortez, I mean, that was just unbelievable, giving up 3 home runs on 3 pitches to start the game. I mean, didn't Reggie Jackson with the Yankees hit 3 home runs in a postseason on 3 straight pitches against the Dodgers? I thought that's the way it worked in the World Series in 1978, Mr. October. Or it might have been 77, whatever it was. But anyway, Cortez on 3 pitches gave up 3 home runs. Goldschmidt starting the game, Volpe, and Aaron Judge, who went on to hit 3 home runs. And then he gave up a home run a little bit later on. So he gave up 4 home runs in the first inning, 5 in total. And then after the game, he's a veteran pitcher. He knows better. He didn't want to stick around and talk, and he said it was a misunderstanding, and he left. And I know some of you guys don't understand that and say, well, it's his prerogative. And I get that. Yeah, it's his prerogative to walk out. But you know what? Had Cortez pitched 7 innings of 2-hit baseball, there wouldn't have been any misunderstanding. He would have been right in front of his locker talking about it, because I've been around these guys long enough. That's the way it works. So, yeah, disappointing that Cortez did not stick around at the end of the game yesterday and talk to the media. And somebody's going to say, oh, you know, he doesn't owe it to talk to the media. Well, you know, the media, we're the intermediate to the fans out there. I think you fans need to know, who are plunking down hard-earned money to go to these games, including opening day, to hear from the pitcher that you saw on Saturday. Because, you know, y'all, and I've said this before, Brewers fans and all of us who watch sports invest a lot of money into our team. So, yeah, when he doesn't talk to the media, it's like, man, if you're going to be there, if you're going to pitch a 2-hitter, I want to hear from you when you lose. and get crushed like that. But you know what it was? He probably didn't want to talk because the New York media was going to be there, and the New York media is going to count him, right? And it's going to be all over the place, and they don't want to. And maybe Cortes left because he didn't want to say something that, anything that would have got himself into trouble. I don't know. But he later said, he relayed back that it was a misunderstanding and that he would talk before Sunday's game. And he did talk before the game earlier today. And he said that, well, the Yankees basically ambushed him. In other words, they were sitting on his fastball. Well, if you knew that the Yankees were going to ambush you, and you knew because he's a former Yankee, what are you doing? What are you throwing? What are you throwing meatballs? Why are you serving up cookies? You're 30 years old. You're not 22. You've been around the game for a little bit. All right. Yeah. If I'm coming down on you, yeah, you're a veteran pitcher. So he talked to the media before the game today. And he's going to pitch Thursday against Cincinnati. But yeah. And there was a lot of memes out there and all that about Cortes pitching and, giving up the 5 home runs. I mean, I'm laughing right now, but I wasn't laughing on Saturday. I saved this. I couldn't wait to get at the mic today. But yeah, Cortes coming in. And maybe he might have been a little nervous pitching in front of the Yankee fans again after, giving up the grand slam to Freddie Freeman in the World Series last year. I don't know. But all I know is 3 home runs on 3 pitches is not good. It didn't make a good impression on Brewers fans. And let's face it, we here in this state, as our sports fans everywhere, first impressions, and the first impression that Cortes gave us is not a good one. So we'll see what he does for an encore on Thursday when he pitches against the Reds. All right, so that's Nestor Cortez. I did not even check his ERA. I was afraid to check it. It's probably in 16 digits right now. Rhys Hoskins. God, when that lineup came out this morning, and I didn't see him in the lineup, I saw Bowers in there, and I don't care if there's a right-handed pitcher in there. Rhys Hoskins is an everyday player, okay? And somebody came after me. A couple of guys came after me. When I tweeted it out, I said, I want Hoskins in the lineup every day. And then Bowers hit a 2-run home run after striking out in his first at-bat. Oh, Chuck, this one didn't age too well. I don't care. How do you know that Hoskins wouldn't have hit a home run? But you know what? Yeah. If Bowers goes 0 for 4, I don't hear from, that Brewer fan out there who's going to tweet at me and say, oh, this one didn't age for too well. Okay. You're sitting on that one, weren't you? That made you feel better. No, Hoskins. Come on. Shouldn't we all agree? We want Hoskins in there against lefties and righties. And I heard, and I saw the numbers. His numbers weren't good against Stroman. But Marcus Stroman, to me, as I tweeted out, isn't Greg Maddux. Okay? So Hoskins, I was okay with Hoskins in the lineup against Marcus Stroman, even though he didn't have good numbers against him. I'll take my chances. The baseball's a funny game. Righty against righty. Hoskins has faced right-handers before, and he'll face right-handers. If we're going to sit him every time and a right-hander's out, no. Hoskins is the best home run hitter on this team. Coming off a great spring, get Hoskins into that lineup. All right? If they're trying to take him slowly with that knee, that's another thing. I don't know why, but get Hoskins in the lineup every day. I don't care who's pitching. I said that in the offseason too. Lefty, righty, an octopus on the mound. I want Hoskins out there every day in the 4-hole. I don't give a darn about those numbers against other guys. This guy, paying a lot of money for him. All right, $18 million. I actually call it $22 million. With the $4 million is going to be owed him next year when he leaves town. So we're basically paying this guy $22 million. Hoskins, get him in the lineup every day. You sign him for a reason. Bowers, you cut him loose on a minor league deal. You brought him back on a minor league deal. All right. You felt so little of Bowers last year. And yeah, he's a better defensive first baseman than Hoskins, but get Hoskins in there. No reason at all Hoskins should be on the bench. I might be in the minority in that. I don't care. I want Hoskins in my lineup. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Some good news about Jacob Misiorowski, and we'll talk about the opener coming up on Monday. Quick turnaround for the Brewers as they fly home. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. By the way, our podcast, get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your audio podcast. We're the number one Brewers podcast here. Please save it, set an alert wherever you can on your podcast downloader. We're here every day talking Brewers baseball, Monday through Friday, and occasionally on the weekends we'll be dropping episodes. And of course, if you're listening to us right now on the audio platform, go to our growing YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. The good news this weekend came from Jacob Misiorowski. And they might be calling on the Miz sooner than later. If we keep getting injuries like this, one starter after another, 6 possible starters could be on the injured list if Civale's got to go. And we'll know more about Civale on Monday. Maybe so, maybe not. But soon. Jacob Misiorowski, 5 innings for Nashville, 1 hit, 7 Ks. He did walk 3, but I'm okay with that. 7 Ks, 5 innings, 1 hit. Other than control, if Jacob Misiorowski can throw the ball over the plate, not at the heart of the plate like Civale and Cortes were doing, the Miz would be on this team because he's got major league stuff. But that was good to see at Nashville. I think Misiorowski has accomplished all he needed to do at the minor league level, right? Except get the ball, except not allowing so many walks. And he only 3 walks in 5 innings. Okay. But he gave up 1 hit and struck out 7. Opening day, the Brewers 0-3 coming in. And they'll start a homestand. They got the Royals and the Reds coming in. Reds coming up later on in the weekend, and the Royals. And so the Brewers here for 7 games. Great to see. Before they start a road trip out west in Colorado and then on to Arizona. Elvin Rodriguez will get the ball for the Brewers. Talked about Elvin on several podcasts in the past, made the team, and we had a hunch that he was going to be the opening day starter, the home opener starter, and he is. Elvin Rodriguez gets the ball against Kris Bubic, who is coming off Tommy John surgery 2 seasons ago, missed the season, came back 2024, pitched out of the bullpen, earned a spot as a back end of the rotation guy with the Royals this year. But coming off the Tommy John, ground ball pitcher, again, basically a back end of the rotation guy, but came back from Tommy John and pitched in relief for the Royals last year. Kris Bubic is on the hill. But coming back from Tommy John, looked pretty good last year. And he'll pitch against the Brewers on opening day against Elvin Rodriguez. The 27-year-old Rodriguez is going to turn 27 tomorrow, in fact. So good luck to him. We'll see how long he goes. He may have to suck up some innings. He may have to eat up some innings because, as we know, this weekend didn't work so well. And the Brewers embarrassingly had to go to Jake Bauers for 2. In fact, Jake Bauers on Saturday was the only pitcher not allowed to run, I think. He had the best pitching line out of anybody. Jake Bauers on Saturday. On Sunday, the Yankees had such mercy on the Brewers that with Bauers out there, they pinch hit for Aaron Judge. They said, well, you know what? Judge has done enough damage for you. You're walking him anyway. So we'll just pinch hit for him. I mean, that was, again, embarrassing weekend for the Brewers. I don't say that too often, but first impressions. If you were to watch the Milwaukee Brewers for a first time ever this weekend, man. Now, I'm expecting things to be turned around. I'm not gonna say this past weekend is a microcosm of what we're going to see this year. Although I'm crossing my fingers. The Cardinals are off to a 3-0 start. The only thing that made this weekend better for me is to see the Cubs blow a 6-2 lead to Arizona on Sunday with their bullpen imploding. Their bullpen almost imploded, gave some back on Saturday, almost blew it on Saturday as well. So the Cubs are having bullpen issues. They are 2-4. The Cardinals, the only unbeaten team in the division. Who would have guessed it? 3-0. Like I said, baseball is a funny game. Hey, that's going to do it for our podcast for tonight and into Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. We'll hopefully have better news than opening day. I see the Brewers are pick 'em, -110 on the hill. Kind of like the Brewers to bounce back. At -110 on Monday afternoon. We'll be here Monday night with another podcast, wrapping it up and talking about opening day and looking ahead to the second game of the series with the Royals. But we'll talk about that. And by the way, I'll be on the Bill Michaels show coming up statewide, the statewide Bill Michaels show. I'll be joining him from at 10 a.m. right when he comes on the air till about 11:30 or so. We'll see. But for sure, the first hour I'll be there. We're going to be at Stenny's downtown, well, just south of downtown. We'll be there broadcasting. He'll be doing the show. Bill's got statewide network, and he always has me on opening day, and I appreciate that. And of course, I'm on there on Tuesdays during my regular segment on Tuesdays at 11:30 in studio with Bill Michaels talking Brewers baseball. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Come up and say hi if you see me at the ballpark, or you see me if you're down for our live broadcast tomorrow on the Bill Michaels show. Come by and say hi. This is Chuck Freeman. Locked On Brewers. Thanks for making us our first listen to every day. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good night, everybody.